Welcome. Today our video is going to have two parts. The first part will be tips for teaching personal money management standards. The second part of the video will give resources and tools that can be used for all units throughout the school year. Let's start with personal money management. These standards ask students to have basic principles of money management, including terms like budget and savings and credit. These standards are often skipped by teachers, but if we're honest with ourselves, these standards are probably the ones that students will use the most and need the most as an adult. Let's look at a couple of tips that might be helpful in teaching this. The first is direct instruction. This is something a lot of teachers will shy away from. It will be very useful for the teacher to provide direct instruction and teach proper money management techniques to the students. Don't be afraid to tell students, yes, this is how it is. Next, students should have experience creating a budget. They should create a kid budget, like a budget that they would use today, with their actual allowance and things that they would actually spend money on, say ice cream. They also should have experience creating an adult budget, things like taxes and bills and a car payment and a house payment. These will allow the students to be able to understand what their parents go through and help them make decisions as they move toward having a career. Students can also participate in a credit debate. Basically, yes, credit is good, or no, credit is bad. Honestly, students should realize in the end that there are uses for credit and there's times that credit's not appropriate. Finally, allow your students to play games with money management. There are many games online that students can play that will allow them to work with these standards. We will look at several resources where you can find some of these games. These resources include the Georgia Council on Economic Education and the National Education Association. Each of these has lots and lots of resources that can be used in teaching personal finance. Let's look at each. Okay, our first website is the Georgia Council on Economic Education. This is a resource that teachers in Georgia should definitely know about, as they offer workshops that are free. They'll even pay for your sub. They also have a search bar where you can find lots of information. We're going to type in personal finance, and you'll notice that several different things come up. We are going to click on the resources. Once you are here, you will notice that there are several different resources all about personal finance. Different links, there's information about the stock market game, there's information for teachers, there's government agencies, there's resources, and the ones I want to point out are for the student. These websites are good websites for your students to go and explore. The Mint and Feed the Pig for Tweens have some interactive activities and things that students can do. These are great resources for you as you plan your unit. The other website that I wanted us to look at was NEA.org. This is the National Education Association. They have a lot of information about teaching and techniques, but if we search here for personal finance, then we are going to find a lot of different resources that they have for teaching financial literacy. There are lesson plans here. This is a great place to look for some budgeting activities. There's some background research information for you. And here are some games that students can play. Some of these could be done as a whole class on a smartboard or Promethean board, and some of these can be done on individual student computers. Hopefully these resources are helpful for you. The next portion of this video is going to cover resources that are helpful in teaching any unit in 7th grade social studies. Let's look at some. First, let's look at some resources that are helpful for readings and current events. These are good places for you to go to find nonfiction reading as well as current events readings. The first one I want to point out to you is ReadWorks, readworks.org. is going to give you many lesson sets and reading passages. Let me show you an example. If I go to reading passages and get a reading passage, I happen to know that there's one here on Islam. And if you'll notice, it's going to give you the grade level, the Lexile level, and you can search and find many different sets. If I click here, I have what turns out to be a 2-page reading, nonfiction, on Islam. Then it's going to provide students with questions, and it's going to provide you with an answer key. This is a great place to go to find reading passages that are about the standards or that will enrich your teaching. The next website that I want to point out to you is News ELA. I've also heard it pronounced Newsella. I'm going to go to Library and World History. So you can see there's a variety of different things. Some of them are 7th grade standards, some of them are not. But I know this one here is the issue of Sunni versus Shiite. The most interesting thing about this is that you can change the reading based on the Lexile that you need. So I could take this same basic article and take it down to, say, a 570. So therefore you can give everybody in the class the same basic reading information, but it can be tailored to their Lexile level. There are also quizzes and writing prompts associated with these writings. You will have to create a login, but it is absolutely free. Another reading and current events site to show you is Tween Tribune. This is by the Smithsonian, and this is something that can be used not necessarily to teach content, but to engage students in current events. You can have students pick their grade level. This would be grade 7. And then they can pick which topics they would like to read on. You can also choose readings based on Lexile. Many times I'll have students spend a specific amount of time in world news, and then the remainder of the time they can pick whichever topics they want. Some other resources to share with you. There are some news shows that are very accessible. They're online. 2 of them are CNN Student News and Channel 1 News. Each of these are web-based and can be shown on projector. CNN Student News is a daily show. It's approximately 10 minutes and there are no commercials. Many times the topics here are applicable to 7th grade social studies because they do cover world events. Below the video, it will show you what the topics are for the video so you can quickly look to see. The other video source I would like to show you is Channel 1 News. This also has a current events video. It will also show you lots of different current event things that the students find to be very interesting. Vocabulary instruction, very important in the social studies classroom. There are several resources that can be helpful here. One is through GeorgiaStandards.Org. There's a video dictionary. The other resource is Vocabulary. This is a fee subscription. You do have to pay to subscribe to it, but basically it will put different current events topics in rap form that the students seem to enjoy. I would like to show you how to find this GeorgiaStandards.Org video dictionary. This is the GeorgiaStandards.Org homepage. There are some tabs here that many times people do not look into. I want to point out to you the resources and videos pages. We are going to go to videos, although there are so many great resources. And we are in social studies. And listed right here at the top is video dictionary. Basically, this is a list of videos that the state has put together that you can use that include video clips and images about different topics. Many of them are 7th grade standards. Some of them are also 6th grade standards, so you may want to share that with your 6th grade teachers as well. It's often very helpful to show videos or video clips in the social studies classroom. You can't take students to these places, so you're going to have to be able to show them some other way. Some resources here are Discovery Education and Brain Pop. Let's start with Discovery Education. If you will check with your media specialist, they should be able to help you with your login and the information to create this service. It is absolutely free. But once you are here, there are so many options. Let's click on a search for apartheid. And what you'll see is there are 206 things that show up that would be helpful in teaching apartheid. Many of these are short video clips. You can sort by what type of clip you want, what kind of image or a video segment or a full video. And this is a great resource that is very helpful in finding images and videos to show to students. BrainPop is another resource that is helpful. Some of the BrainPop videos are free, however some are via subscription, so you may want to check if your school has a subscription to BrainPop. Research. It is important for students to do research in the social studies classroom. Here are some resources that are very helpful for doing research. Galileo. It does require a password. It is free. Your media specialist should be able to provide that password to you. And CIA World Factbook. Let's look at Galileo. I have already signed in. I want to point out to you what you will see at the bottom of the screen if you scroll down. Notice there are different search options based on the students that you have. There is a Galileo Teen for grades 6 through 8. This provides a place for students to search different topics, and it's a little bit friendlier for them. In fact, for some students and for many projects, I will actually have my students use the elementary search window. It's usually a little bit easier to use for some students. For here in the search bar, you can type any topic. Let's type Islam. Just like a search engine, you are going to find a wide variety of information. In fact, too much. This is a good place to show students how to refine their search. This is a great, safe place, more than just going to a search engine and searching for something. The other resource to show you for research is the CIA's World Factbook. This is a great place to find facts about countries, their governments, the comparisons between different countries. In fact, if you will go to the government video in this series, I will walk you through how to use this resource in more detail. To review, it is imperative that students have something to help them, especially those struggling learners. Here are two possible suggestions. One is Kahoot and one is Quizlet. Kahoot tends to be a classroom-based review. Kahoot allows students to use their personal electronic devices, or if you have devices in the classroom. It is a free service, so you can log in for free. There are public Kahoots that are created about a wide variety of topics, many of which are things that we teach. If you want to choose one, you can click on it. I'm just picking the first one, and you can actually preview the questions before you show your students. You can also create your own, where you can type in your own questions. This is easy to be shared between teachers, so if one teacher creates a Kahoot for one test, then they can share it with other teachers. Another resource that's a great review is Quizlet. Now, this is a great resource to share with students that they can review on their own. Basically, if you have created a Quizlet, you can do this in class, or students can play games with this. For instance, a matching game where they can match up the different topics and a review. They can be competitive with each other, you can set up classes, and they can compete to have the best time. This is a great way to review with your students. Please remember when planning all of your units that it is helpful to provide a variety of different resources. You have a variety of different learning styles in your classroom, and you will have a variety of different teaching methods from one teacher to the other. Please remember to have fun. I think that you will do great as you plan your next unit in social studies.